Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
And I'm Ryan Newman.
All right, on today's episode, we are going through the top 10 teams according to Athlon. We use their rankings. And we're going to say when each of them will suffer their first loss, if at all. Maybe we're predicting undefeated. And on that note, I don't know, Ryan. Number one.
I know this is, they have this is Georgia, of course. We got Georgia here. You see Georgia's schedule on. They got a pretty soft schedule, man. I mean, they do play at Tennessee. That's a tough game, but they avoid Alabama, which is obviously pretty nice. So they avoid LSU. So things are setting up pretty well here for them, and their non-conference isn't exactly anything to write home about. UT Martin, Ball State, UAB, and Georgia Tech. So very, very weak schedule for Georgia, all things considered. But I'm going to say they get a surprise early. I'm going to say it's that South Carolina game in week 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, South Carolina obviously finished the last year extremely strong, so they're going to have some momentum. And maybe Georgia's new offensive, new quarterback, maybe they're still kind of figuring things out a little bit. Just maybe South Carolina can surprise them. Spencer Rattler could prove it last year. He was pretty darn good, so maybe they can keep it rolling.
All right, I'm picking undefeated. I think this is
like,
I mean, it's probably more likely that they lose one, somewhere along the way, but good luck predicting which one. Yeah. So I think my best shot here is undefeated.
That's fair.
Schedule sets up so well.
I know, it really does. It's like, wow, come on now. All right, number 2, we got the Michigan Wolverines. What do you think about this one, Mike?
I am going to say that they make it all the way to game number 10, and they lose at Penn State. Just obviously very tough place to play. I love Penn State's defense this year. Manny Diaz could be back up for another head coaching job after this season with good start he's had at Penn State. And by that point in the season, maybe Drew Aller has, he's got some more experience playing a little bit better. It's not going to be that big of an upset. Michigan's favored 2.5 on the look ahead lines. So yeah, basically a toss up.
I mean, this is up until later in the year where they finish with, Penn State and Ohio State, they also have a pretty easy schedule. I mean, the non-conference, that's a joke. East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green.
Yeah.
So their first road game's at Nebraska. Well, they'll be a big favorite, but I'm going to say they get surprised. They obviously have had some close games. Even last year, Illinois maybe should have beat them. And they had another close game versus somebody that I can't quite remember, but so they always there's some surprises. So I'm going to go at Minnesota. I think Minnesota can trip them up. Minnesota's, solid program. PJ Fleck's always got a good team. I think they're going to get tripped up. I just don't see them. I don't see them going all the way to week 10 undefeated. So Minnesota can get them.
Yeah, I could see that. That's not an easy one.
Yep.
All right. Number 3 here, we have Alabama on Athlon's list.
Yep. Alabama, they have a big-time showdown in week 2 against Texas. That one's definitely a strong candidate. Tennessee, of course, LSU, at Auburn. There's multiple games that they could lose. But I am going to say early. I'll say week 2. I think Texas is going to get them.
Yeah.
Obviously, last year was a very great game in Austin. And Texas has got a lot coming back. Their defense should be even a little better. Offense should still be really good. They did lose Bijan Robinson at running back, but their receiving core is super deep. Offensive line should be better. Quint Ewers, I think, should be better. So, and maybe Alabama's still figuring things out offensively. I'm not totally sold what's going to happen on that side of the ball. So I think Texas can get them there.
Yeah, that was my pick. Just because Alabama's pretty likely to lose at least one game this season, even though they're a favorite as of right now in every single game, but plenty of games where they're like around a touchdown favorite. So you're having to pick one of those games, and Texas is the one that comes first. And high on Texas this year as well. It's just who's going to be quarterback for Alabama, whoever it is. Game 2, I'm not yet going to be super confident in them. So
yeah, exactly.
I definitely could see an upset.
Yep. All right, moving on to your team. Number 4, we have the USC Trojans, Michael.
Yes, and their schedule is starts
Back
out
heavy.
very, very easy. Yeah, it's very back heavy. Your first 6 games, you got San Jose State, Nevada, Stanford, at ASU, at Colorado, and Arizona. So,
Yeah.
sure, one of those teams could pull off an upset, but I'm going to pick 6-0
Yeah.
there. And yeah, last 6 games are brutal. Extremely likely to lose, 1, 2, possibly even 3 of those games. It all starts with at Notre Dame, so that's going to be my pick.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, they added Sam Hartman at quarterback. I think the offense this year, of course, has a much higher upside because of that. And they return a good amount of production defensively. I trust Marcus Freeman on that side of the ball to have a strong defense. And even though USC is incredible offense, that's pretty much a sure thing. The defense, we still don't know. They're not above dropping one on the road to Notre Dame, which presumably will be a very short spread either way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with you. I'll say Notre Dame. I mean, first 6 games, USC should win, and just take the first game of the back end, which is a tough one. Notre Dame. They definitely could lose others. I mean, but I think you're maybe overplaying some of the as like Cal as in the back end, and they're no good.
Okay, that's the one game. But
Yeah,
at Notre Dame, Utah, Washington, at Oregon, UCLA.
I'm a little lower on UCLA than
All right.
than I think maybe most people, but still, it's a losable game. But the back end is going to be fun to watch. That's for sure. The back-to-back weeks against Notre Dame, Utah, and then Washington, Oregon. It'll be fun. We'll see what USC has, man.
Yeah, and there's no bye all those 6 weeks. It's back.
Yeah, when is the bye
so
for USC?
They have, I think. I think they have like a bye. Well, let's look at the schedule here. After the Stanford game, so kind of week 4, I guess. And then I think they have a bye before the Pac-12 championship. So it kind of.
You guys play week 0, huh? Right, August 26th.
Yeah,
huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. So interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like having those week 0 games.
Yeah, it should be fun. San Jose State. All right, moving on. We've got number 5, Ohio State.
Yes.
Bring up the Buckeyes schedule for the YouTube viewers.
Yeah. At Notre Dame is obviously one that's very, very challenging. The game last year they played was a relatively good game. Notre Dame hung in there pretty well. There's some tricky spots at Wisconsin. Penn State, of course, is going to have a really good team. You just never know. But I'm actually going to be bold on Ohio State and say they go 11-0 until they go to Michigan and they lose in Ann Arbor. And there's 3 in a row, I guess, to Michigan, huh?
Yeah, that would be epic. Like that's what I'm hoping for. Nothing against like Michigan, just the story, the spectacle of it. What Ohio State, or nothing against Ohio State, sorry.
Yeah.
What Ohio State fans will feel about Ryan Day after that, because it's like it'd be another great year, like 11-1, but so that would be fun. But I'll say they go down, or I just think they'll drop 1 before that Michigan game. And so I looked at week 4 at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Last year Notre Dame got off to a rough start. That was, of course, Marcus Freeman's first full season as head coach, and just was brutal to start, but they got better as the season went on. So that game 1 at Ohio State, the offense was just, it couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I don't think, like I said, with Sam Hartman, that'll be the case this year. So wouldn't shock me if Notre Dame kind of did something similar to what Michigan did to Ohio State last year. Maybe not, the score, but just in terms of, hitting some big plays with Hartman.
Man, Notre Dame, USC, Ohio State. That'd be quite a
yeah. I mean,
them,
to be clear, just picking them as the most likely first loss.
Exactly.
I'd bet against them, but
they're probably a playoff team if they win those 2 games.
Yeah, probably.
All right, let's move on. At number 6, we've got LSU.
Yes, and this one's week 1. They're playing sort of at Florida State, Camping World Stadium. So, that's what I'm picking. They're favored 2.5. But okay, so there's a 47% chance they lose. That is not bad in this episode. And if I don't pick Florida State, then it just becomes, for me, really hard to choose, because they've got consecutive games at Mississippi State, home to Arkansas, at Ole Miss, at Missouri, Auburn. Like they'll
Yeah.
be good sized favorites in all those, but in aggregate, they could certainly drop one. So
Yeah.
I, I can't get all the way to the at Alabama game, whatever that is, week 10 or something. So
Right.
I went week 1 losing to Florida State.
Yeah, this is a tough one in week 1 here, just because LSU and FSU, they're back to back in the rankings, number 6 and number 7 here, and then I mean, can you just pick both to lose in this one? Like
Well,
I don't want to do that. I'm not
doing
doing that.
both.
I'm picking
Spoiler
one.
alert. I'm going for
win.
2. I'm picking LSU to beat Florida State and Florida State to beat LSU.
Yeah, I just went with I picked it. I picked the game. Like this, the one team's gonna win. So I
I
picked
gotcha.
LSU is gonna win this game.
Okay.
They'll beat Florida State in week 1. So then I got to look onward after that. And I'll say it's at Ole Miss in week 5. LSU did put a pretty big whooping on them last year. But that was in Tiger Stadium, so it could be a different ball game at Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin and company. So I think Ole Miss is gonna be a little bit better too. But it's like you said though, all those games right there, at Mississippi State, Arkansas, Ole Miss, at Missouri, Auburn. I mean, there's those are very solid teams that all could trip them up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on then to number 7, Florida State, and
that's my week 1 loss. Yeah. So I say Florida State will lose to LSU in week 1.
Oops. Yeah, I am saying the same thing. So you're going right. I can no longer go 10 for 10 here, right? I cannot get a perfect game.
Yeah,
you can, but I'm going for that. I'm raising my expected correct answers. I'm getting guaranteed 1 out of 2. I'll take it.
I'm boomer bust. That's the way I do it.
But if I did pick LSU to win that game because they are the slight favorite, then
Clemson.
Yeah, I would go to the at Clemson. Or sorry, if I picked Florida State to win, then in the case of Florida State's schedule, I'd have them beating Southern Miss at Boston College, and then I guess going down at Clemson.
I think FSU I'm picking them to lose to LSU, but I think they could run the table after this. I mean, Clemson's obviously a tough game, but I think FSU's. I like FSU a little better than Clemson this year, and then after that, it's just teams that are capable of beating them, but they could run the table after week 1. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Moving on to number 8, the Nittany Lions, Penn State.
Okay. So their toughest game before at Ohio State in Game 7 is either at Illinois or home to Iowa.
Yeah.
And, if Drew Aller just approaches the hype that he has coming into Penn State, then I don't see them losing either of those. So I'm saying they go 6-0, and then they do go down at Ohio State, because to me Ohio State is still the best team in the Big Ten. Sorry, Michigan, I know they beat them 2 years in a row, and it's very close this year. But I reserve the right to change this before the season. But right now, I would have Ohio State just slightly.
Okay, I disagree. I'm taking Michigan. I think they're
well. It doesn't mean I'm not taking Michigan. They do play at Michigan.
Fair, but I just
factors in
neutral field. I
like
have Michigan a little better, a little more experience, a little more certainty at QB, of course.
Yeah,
Michigan's got a lot coming back. They'll be good.
No, yeah,
proven it 2 years in a row. So going into last year, I probably would have agreed with you. I would have with CJ Stroud and them still. I would have taken Ohio State. Proved to be wrong, but maybe.
But were they
that
better?
one game?
Were they better? I mean, they did. They weren't better that day, but
yeah, exactly. It's kind of what you got to look at, though. So
yeah,
I would take Michigan, but okay. So you said Penn State's going down to Ohio State in the 7th game. I agree. It's the most likely. I mean, Illinois they're gonna challenge people. They almost beat Michigan last year, and the way they play, they can kind of muck it up and keep it interesting. But I think Penn State's just too good. I don't think Illinois is going to be able to do anything on offense against Penn State. So yeah, got to go most likely Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, quarterback situation. I mean, I don't expect it to be. I think McCord or if it's Brown, that starts. I think they'll be great right away. But if they're not, if they have to switch, by Game 7, I'm sure that offense will be rolling. You got Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh yeah,
Emeka Buka. Like they'll be fine.
They'll have a good ground game still.
Yeah. Okay. moving on. Number 9 in Athlon's
Yes.
rankings, Washington.
Yeah, this is interesting. I like their schedule. Week 1 they get a good test. Boise comes into Seattle. At Michigan State will be interesting. Oh man, that game's on Peacock. Yeah, forget about that.
Yeah, we got the schedule here.
The
Yeah.
darn Peacock's getting the game.
Well, same
yeah.
with like I saw that USC's first 2 games are on Pac-12 Network, which I don't even get.
Oh right.
Which,
Yeah.
Well, but I might become a potential Fubo customer. You know,
Oh, yeah,
I'll
Pac-12.
want to try out the free trial because I'm legitimately might be interested. Right.
Right. Of course, you're definitely.
It's not just that
yeah.
week
Yeah.
to watch the
No,
game.
of course not.
But no.
You have family that has the Pac-12 network. You can watch.
Yeah, and if they recognize that I may have done this on a different email address last year, I don't know what that I don't know what that's
No
about.
Not at all.
I legitimately forgot. You can't sue me for forgetting.
Sure. Yeah, I know. I've never done anything like that. Okay, so yeah, you Washington. Back to the schedule here.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I like Washington this year. I think they're going to be pretty darn good. So I'm saying they're going all the way through until their 9th game at USC. So I got them beating all those. I got beating Boise, Michigan State, beating Oregon. I'll say at USC they finally get tripped up in a really high scoring, fun game. That'll be a super fun game to watch. They didn't play last year, right? You guys didn't play.
No.
So that one would have been a fun one to watch last year. So yeah, that'll be a fun one. I mean,
come on, all these Pac-12 matchups, like, that's why it sucks so bad.
But those are the 2 best offenses. Like it should be high flying and fun.
Oregon is up there too.
Okay, fair, but I think
let's throw Utah in there.
Okay, they're good offense, but Washington and USC are the most explosive.
You're like, maybe. I don't know. I literally don't know between Oregon and Washington, but I could see that being true.
Yeah, fair enough. Washington's
Anyway.
like pass heavy, explosive, air attack type thing. Oregon had a little more balance last year.
Washington's got better receivers. Washington's got better receivers than Oregon.
Yes. Thanks, Mike.
I wasn't trying to be argumentative. I don't want to say something as a fact when I don't necessarily know. So I'll agree with you. Or no, I won't agree. I will accept your determination.
You always hedge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have them going down to Oregon.
Okay.
Just because I like with who was it? I forget who it was earlier, but it's like I can't get that far in the season. I just think by the time they get to at USC, someone's gonna have beat them. That's what I think. And so Oregon to me is the by far the most likely team. And it is a revenge game for whatever that's worth. Right now, Washington is favored 1.5 at DraftKings, so slight favorite, but basically a toss-up. And Oregon I think Oregon might be slightly better. I guess the point spread shows that they are a slightly better team on a neutral. And just Oregon did a great job in the portal addressing offensive line, so I think the offense will be great again. I know they lose the offense coordinator,
Kenny
Dillingham, but they still got so much talent, and defense is where I think that's where big improvement can come because, like I said, did some great things in the portal, and just year 2 under Dan Lanning, it was so bad last year by Oregon standards that I feel like kind of has to get better.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, it could definitely happen. All right, let's move on to the last one.
Okay.
Finishing it off at 10, we got the Utah Utes.
Yes. Sorry, I was taking a sip of my Dr. Pepper Zero. I thought you were going to talk for a while.
No.
All right. So this is game 1. We're going game 1, which I did not expect to. I know, because they're playing Florida. They're playing at home against Florida. They're a good size favorite. I think 9.5, 10 right now. But the thing is, they're not an underdog in any game until at USC in Game 7. But there's plenty of losable games before
at OSU
that.
Would be close.
As far as underdog, yeah, I mean,
Oregon State's top 25 team, so
yeah, I would think Utah would be
Utah
by a favorite there. But but yeah, I would think unless things change that they'd be a favorite there. So I just I don't know. Even just like at Baylor, like that's not
Yeah.
an easy game. Of
No.
course, again they'll be a favorite. So there's just always the chance. I guess what I'm going with here is that Cam Rising isn't ready for Week 1. Like
That's true
he's
too.
expected to, but that gives me like a little bit of a added bonus here that if he's not 100% or just isn't ready at all, that maybe Florida could take them down. I like Billy Napier as the head coach. Maybe Florida surprises. I don't know. I just no matter which game I picked, I don't feel great about it. So I just took my shot with Week
Yeah.
1.
No, that's fair
And
about
it was a
Cam Rising.
close game last year. You know, I
It
know it was
was.
at Florida, but
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, I mean that's a fine pick. Like it's not that wouldn't be insane. Florida could definitely could win that game. But I'm going to say they get by the first couple there. I'll say they beat Florida and Baylor. Of course, Weber State, UCLA, but I have them going down in Corvallis. I think the Beavers get them. Beavers are good, man. They're going to have a really good ground game. Defense has been steadily getting better, and they're tough to play on in Oregon there. So I like the Beavers this year. I think they're going to be really good. I'm interested to see what happens at quarterback, of course, for them. Is it going to be DJU or I mean, I think that's if you see DJU trotting out there, I think that's a good sign for the Beavers in Week 1.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's a good pick there. And by the way, as you were talking there, I was looking up the explosiveness of
Uh-huh.
Pac-12 offenses last year, and you are right. Washington last year was more explosive than Oregon. So
Never a
I
doubt.
sidetracked.
Never a doubt.
I sidetracked the podcast for no reason there.
I
You're
mean,
right.
it's I was probably closer than I gave it credit for, but still right.
No, don't just take a victory lap. I'm wrong. I'm an idiot. It's what happened.
I'm trying to
So
make you feel better, Mike. Sorry. It's all good.
it's okay. Okay, well, that will do it for this episode of the College Football Bros. Thank you for watching and listening. As always, if you want to support us, you can join our Discord server and get bonus episodes by subscribing to our Patreon. There's a link in the description on YouTube. It's patreon.com/collegefootballbros. So we would appreciate that. We'll see you next time.